What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Edison Club podcast. I am your host, Mike, and I am back. It's been a while. It's been like 6 weeks since I have been on an episode of my own podcast, but I am back, and tonight I'm joined by two of my teammates, Nick Duchamin, aka Rail My Dad.
Hello, duelists.
As well as Austin Deckard, aka Enraged Peacock.
Yo, yo.
And joining us here in just a little while, we will have teammate Justin. He is finishing up his dinner, but he will be joining us here in just a little while. So there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, it's been 6 weeks. Life has really changed a lot for me. So let me just go over that very quickly. I have made a video about talking about it, but my son was born 5 weeks ago, and life got really crazy from there. And basically, my goal with the channel and with Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like after he was born, I really wanted to prioritize doing podcast episodes because out of all the content that I make, everything that I produce, I really like the podcast. It's the funnest thing. Like you get to just sit down with your friends for a couple hours and just yap for a while. And then it was just like after he was here, I just lost the desire to even like go to the computer and record episodes. But it's now that we kind of have a little bit more of a routine, we've kind of got things figured out. I am going to start trying to record these as often as I can. I think that Saturday is kind of going to try to be our new recording day and still putting them out Thursday evening or Friday morning. But I want to personally just extend a huge thank you to everyone that has continued following the show, and both on YouTube as well as Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts from. I do have to give also a huge shout out to the Edison Club media team. You guys know who you are. There's a bunch of you that have kept the podcast going in recent weeks, bringing on some really cool guests onto the pod and overcoming some of the hurdles that you've had to go through as far as the never-ending audio issues, because it seems like that's like one of the hardest learning curves when it comes to recording podcast episodes, is just getting the audio right. But you guys have powered through, and I'm really proud of you guys and really thankful to call you guys my friends and to have y'all on my team. So big pat on the back to the Edison Club media team. So let's get into the meat and potatoes here of this episode. This episode's talking about playing Yu-Gi-Oh! While you're a dad. And definitely the game looks a lot different from the outside looking in once you have that kind of responsibility. So let's go with Peacock. Has been a dad the longest out of all of us. So Peacock, how do you find that life balance between playing cards, keeping up with like current Edison, but also like just being like the best dad you can be? Because I know that you're an excellent father.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, and I try to do my best. For me, I think it's actually a lot easier than y'all because I only have I co-parent, so I only have my son every other weekend, and then periodically like throughout the week. So it's not a 24/7 thing. I'm always active in his life, obviously, but he's not constantly running around and actually physically here. So on those days I don't have him, I'm able to actually focus a lot more on those kind of things to make it a little easier that way. But on the flip side of that, the other like duality of it is being a single parent. Whenever it is like the time he's here, I am a 100% dedicated to just him. And then being just on a single income makes it a lot harder to like go to different events and like actually. So it's like that. Everyone will. Learn as you go.
Peacock's turning into a robot. You kind of turned into a robot a little bit there at the end.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened. You like kind of sounded like a robot a little bit every now and again, but then it like you went full like futuristic robot toward the end.
Okay. Yeah, on my Discord it's saying. Let me see what.
Okay. So yeah, in the meantime, while Peacock is figuring out what his microphone is doing, yeah, that's definitely tough. Like being a single parent, like I'm very grateful for my wife and everything that we do, the team that we have together, and yep. I definitely understand where you're coming from as far as like just having the extra funds to get to events, because like it's not as black and white as like, oh, I buy a plane ticket, I have somewhere to stay and that's it. But like, plane tickets are very expensive, and you also kind of have to kind of allocate for like if something goes wrong with your flight and you end up having to stay extra time, like that's extra time off of work. That's extra time you have to find somewhere to stay if you don't want to tough it out in the airport for multiple days. And then you also have stuff like travel costs, like Ubers, Lyfts, and stuff like that when you're there. And then also food, especially like food at the venue. Like we all know, like the the Yu-Gi-Oh thing where it's like $15 for some chicken tenders and 3 French fries and stuff like that, and it's $10 more if you want a bottle of water to go with it. So yeah, it's hard, and a lot of times whenever I would go on events, the few times that I flew to events, I just always made sure I just had like all of that stuff allocated. So it's definitely tough. And then Yu-Gi-Oh takes a back seat whenever you have a kid, and I mean that just means you have your priorities in line more than anything. And you worry about like
for sure,
making sure everything with them is good, that like your partner's going to be okay to take care of them, they're not going to get too overwhelmed while you're gone, everything like that. So it definitely looks a little bit different. And then the whole time that you're gone, at least for me, like even just being at work all day, I'm just like, man, I really want to go home and just be with my family.
absolutely.
Yeah. So Nick, how do you find that balance between parenthood and trying to be Yugimoto?
I am still trying, and it's really, really hard to strike a perfect balance because my wife, like, she's sitting right next to me right now, and I love her to death, and I want to hang out with her all the time. But at the same time, I can't hang out with her and play Yu-Gi-Oh at the same time. And when it comes to like Saturdays, I want to go play Goat Locals, or if there's like a Switch event, I want to go play some Edison. But she works full time and watches our son full time, so she's basically working double time all week, and it's really hard to try to like say, oh, by the way, I know you just worked like double hours all week long taking care of a child and working, but can you also watch him on Saturday so I can go play at the Switch event for like 5 or 6 hours?
Yeah.
And it's like it's a pain because I feel like horrible about putting more of a burden on her than she already has. Not that like parenting's hard, obviously, like anybody who has a kid knows that it's really difficult, but it's more difficult if you're trying to be a good parent, because you're trying to be present and make sure you're playing with your kid. Like my kid's going to turn a year next week.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it flew by, which is insane, but I've still managed to squeeze in Yu-Gi-Oh when I can, and at least I'm lucky enough where like if I'm at work, I can on my break watch some YouTube videos and kind of stay in the know and like see what's going on with the Edison meta.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been a year, because I remember like one of the first times that we played Edison, you were talking about how you guys were going to start trying to have a kid, and then it felt like no time. Like I was at the shop again, and I was talking to you, and you were like, "Oh, we're about to have the baby," and like she turned around, and I was like, "Oh, you're about to have the baby." Like it just went by so fast, and it's already been a year. Like I look at
the crazier thing is the.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I look at pictures of him from the day he was born till now and already get emotional because he's changed so much in 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what I was going to say.
Back now, you look at him in 5 weeks. Yeah. So we only had to try once to have Will, and lo and behold, we have him now. But I only saw you at Easy like a couple times when she was like very early pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then the last time I saw you, she was like 8 months, and you were like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Like,
yeah. Like I think you had said, "Oh, we're gonna have a baby," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." That was when she turned around. And I was like, "Oh, so you mean like you're about to have like tomorrow?"
Really about to happen.
Yep. Yeah. That was so crazy. So crazy.
I mean, this coming week, it's going to be a year, which is insane, and it flew by. Awesome. So it's going to fly by for you too.
Yeah. Well, happy early birthday to William, aka Rail My Dad Jr.
Yep. And then someday he's going to grow up and he's going to say Rail My Dad, and he's going to say that about me, and then his son will say it about him, and it'll just be a generational thing.
Yeah.
Everybody trying to get their dad laid.
My nickname is Rail My Dad the Third.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
it's
been hard, but most of the burden has been on my wife. So even though she's right next to me and she can hear me talking about her, it's 100% like all the gratitude I can possibly give towards another human being is for my wife.
Oh,
she's
look
not
at that.
supportive of me playing that much Yu-Gi-Oh. She hates Yu-Gi-Oh, but she will play Goat with me occasionally. But if I really, really want to go, if everybody's going to Goat and all my friends are going to be there, or if there's going to be a Switch tournament and she knows I'm going to have fun all day, she'll still take that on and go, okay, go ahead, like go play with your friends, whatever. But then the rest of the day, Saturday, when I get home, and then all day Sunday, I try to take Will, and I try to take care of him and try to let her kind of do her own thing.
Yeah. Round of applause
Exactly.
for Nick's wife, Grace.
Yeah, she's the best.
Well, I was
She's
going to say we should
definitely
give a huge shout out to like all the like wives and moms of all the people who that are in this kind of a community, because I was doing it again, isn't it?
Yeah, you're still robot. You're still Machine King. For whatever reason.
Let me leave the call now. I'm gonna leave the call and jump
Okay.
back in real quick.
All right. Yeah, so what Peacock was saying was a big shout out to all the wives, all the Yugi moms out there that are okay with your husbands leaving for weekends at a time to go play a children's card game. Sometimes just supporting your partner is just does the most. Whenever Becky, whenever I leave to go do stuff like that, I always try to really pick up the slack when I come back and give her the day off kind of the next day, like what she did for me. So
yes, yeah, you gotta the whole house is clean, all the dishes are done, the dogs are walked, the yard is mowed, like you gotta do everything you possibly can.
Exactly. And some people would say like that's being like whipped or something like that, but to me it's like a respect thing. Like basically if I leave to go play Yu-Gi-Oh all day on a Saturday, like I had that whole day off from the baby, right? Like literally nothing. So I feel like the next day, I'm washing the bottles and I'm feeding the baby and I'm changing the diapers and I'm putting him down for a nap, stuff like that. Because then she kind of deserves the next day off. It's not about like obligation. It's just out of like respect.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And she's already doing it double time because she works 40 hours and watches him for 40 hours. So when I get home, I just worked my 40 hours. I owe a lot of baby time. Like,
yeah.
She had to deal with him all day, and he's so clingy. Like, I love him to death, but he's just like her. He's very high maintenance. He needs attention all the time. And I love playing with him. I love hanging out with him. Like, he's so fun. He's wicked funny. Like, he's the best, but he's really high maintenance. So you can't, take your eyes off him. You can't be like, oh, here, play with these toys, and I'll jump on, the dueling book or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to be with him the entire time.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, it's already the same here. Like I can't just be like, all right, Oliver, time to take a nap, lay him down, walk away, and he immediately starts screaming. He's like, no, come pick me back up. Like, like you can't. It's a lot of work sometimes just to get them to go to sleep. Like whoever coined the phrase "sleep like a baby" had never been around a kid in their life.
Oh my God, I don't know where that came from. That is such a stupid saying. Like he finally started sleeping through the night at like maybe 8 months.
Yeah,
and the first time he slept through the night, me and Grace woke up and we were like, did you get up with him last night? No. Did you get up with him last night? No. Oh my God, he actually slept for 8 hours and it was just the best. Like, I can't wait for you to get to that stage.
Bro,
your brain
I have to say,
resets back to pre-baby.
I have to brag on him a little bit. And I have to brag on him and my wife. Like, I don't feel like it's been like that bad. Like he's pretty much up to the minute about like every 2.5 or 3 hours to eat. And then he eats and then goes back to sleep. So it's been like Becky obviously picks up a little bit more of the slack because she's breastfeeding. We're not formula feeding or anything like that. So it has been harder on her. She has to pump and stuff like that. And I give him a bottle when I can to give her a break, but she's up a little bit longer. Like our system is like he cries or the alarm goes off. And if the alarm goes off and he's still asleep, we've been letting him sleep longer now because he's a little bit older. But if he wakes up, I get up, she goes to the bathroom, I change him, I get him ready to eat. By that time, she's back, she's in the bed, she's ready to start feeding him. I give him to her, then I lay back down, go to sleep, then we do the same thing in a few hours. So she's probably up about 30 minutes throughout the night. And I think it's about 3 times per night he ends up waking up. But he, for the most part, he goes down pretty easily, stays asleep for those 3 hours. So it hasn't been bad, but I am really ready to get through to get to a point where I get to sleep through the whole night without getting up again. That'll be amazing.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't have kids yet, it doesn't sound that bad the way Mike's talking about it. Oh, she's only up for 30 minutes throughout the night because it's a few minutes at a time here and there. It is awful, especially if you're breastfeeding, because my poor wife was breastfeeding for like the first 3 months and she was getting up and he was crying and I was like trying my hardest to open my eyes and it was like they were made out of lead. I would like try to stay up with her just out of solidarity, try to keep her company. And I couldn't. It was like being a zombie. Like I could not stay awake. And she was getting like 2 or 3 hours a night.
Oh my gosh.
During the day, it's the same way. It's like every few hours because they just sleep so much during the day. You try to sleep during the day, but you can't because you got to cook and you got to clean and you got to walk the dogs and do
Yeah.
everything. So she was a living zombie, and I was a living zombie by proxy.
Yeah, and the thing about it is like even
horrible
if you like even if you give him a bottle to give her a break, she still has to go pump to like keep things going.
Oh, yeah.
So like you don't even get a break then. I mean, not really. You know, you get a break from like holding the baby, but yeah. Like the thing about it, for me is like it's easy for me to like jump right up, you know, and like get things going in the middle of the night. But I do not wake up with him crying. I don't know why. Because I've always been a light sleeper, but him crying does not wake me up at all. Becky has to like kind of like shove me or wake me up. And it's like after I wake up, I'm fine. But like I'm just like if I was a single parent, I would have to just do the alarm method and set an alarm like every 2 hours because I'll just for whatever reason I won't wake up. And she's like, he's been crying for like 10 minutes. I'm like, I never heard him a single time.
She's rolling her eyes at me right now because she thinks I'm faking it because I'm a really, really light sleeper too. But I have to take Unisom every single night to sleep. Like I'm a chronic insomniac. I can't fall asleep and I can't stay asleep.
Yeah.
So last night was like the first time in years I didn't take a Unisom before bed, and I actually slept for like 6 or 7 hours, which is just completely unheard of. Like I can't sleep for less than 6 hours unless I take drugs to do it. Like my brain won't shut off. But even on the nights where I don't take Unisom, which is like once a month maybe, he woke up twice last night crying, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I slept right through the night.
Yeah.
But she also sleeps right next to the baby monitor, so maybe it's just louder for her. But I feel like it's the same as you. Like if he's crying, like I won't hear it until like 10 minutes have gone by.
And I don't know if it's where, because like I could hear a pin drop in my sleep like 2 months ago. I don't know if it's where like I'm not getting sleep that's like uninterrupted. So like therefore like when I do sleep, it's like much deeper than it used to be. I think that's what it is. Because like whenever she wakes, exactly. Whenever she wakes me up, I wake up like I can't remember what she said. Like it like startles me. Like hands go up in the air. I'm like, what's going on? Like, and I've never been like that before in my life. So things are a little bit different like that. But once I do wake up, like it's, thankfully I don't really feel like a zombie most of the time anyway.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I don't know what it is with me because I'm normally a really, really light sleeper. And if my alarm goes off or if I wake up like naturally, it's like I had 10 shots of espresso. Like if I'm up, I'm up.
Yeah.
But I sleep talk a lot too. And this,
oh no!
Before I ever started, it's not like.
Oh no! I've seen that thing. It's like people that sleep talk scare me because, like, what do you mean the ham man is coming?
Yes. Like, what was the most recent thing I said, Grace? That was weird.
You said something, and I said, "What did you say?" And you said, "I said pee pee poo poo."
Oh, did you hear what she said?
Yeah, I did. Pee pee poo poo.
Woke up and said pee pee poo poo, and for no reason, but I don't remember saying it.
I said it.
I was
guess,
proud that I said it.
To be fair, when you become a parent, that's where your mind is 90% of the time. You hear crying and you're like, oh, pee pee poo poo.
Yep. I've also threatened my best friend Brett with a glue gun that I didn't have in my hand.
Oh my gosh.
But I was sleeping on the couch at his house or whatever when we were in high school. And I said, oh, I'm going to shoot you with this gun. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, this glue gun, see? And I held up my fingers, but I didn't have anything in my hand.
That's crazy. But, yeah, I'm never rooming with you.
No, I'm sorry. It is definitely scary for anybody that's in the same room as me. Like, I would be completely freaked out. I feel bad for my wife because, like, she's trying to sleep, because she's staying up with the baby or doing whatever. And I'm just waking up saying, like, these weird-ass things, like, looking through the sheets for a spider that I think I saw, or I rip off my sleep mask and I start pulling up the blankets and looking for it and like throwing pillows across the room.
Wait, you have a sleep mask? Like what goes over your eyes?
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. I have one of those too.
Yes, dude. So underrated. It's like the best $10 I've ever spent in my life.
Yes. Becky laughs at me because like I'll get up in the middle of the night and it's just me and my boxers with the sleep mask like pushed up, like it's holding my hair back. And she's like, you look like a granny. But it's so nice.
Luckily, I'm bald, so you can only see the indents of the strap going around my head.
Yeah.
And oh hey, Enraged, are you back?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Robot's back.
Congratulations. Welcome back, Mr. Robot.
Yeah, I had to completely restart the computer. Then I had to restart Discord too.
Oh.
Discord's like, hey, you have 7 updates.
Oh gosh,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Mine had to update. I think I had 14 updates, which I don't even understand how Discord updates that much. Like it seems like it always works the same, but mine had to update right before this call because I haven't used it in so long.
I don't use it on my computer, so I don't know if it just updates on my phone, but
Yeah.
I've never really had to worry about it.
Yeah. So we're gonna shift
Well,
gears here. I'm sorry, go ahead, Peacock. You had something you were gonna say right before you bleeped out there.
Yeah, I was basically saying that how it's doing it again.
Oh no, he's being Mr. Robot.
Why
Oh,
is it?
I don't
doing
know.
it again. What?
Try to talk really close to your microphone. Maybe that'll help.
How's that sound? Let's
It
see.
sounds good to me. Let's see if it breaks up.
Okay. Yes.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. He's completely MIA now.
Goodbye, Peacock.
Oh no. I really don't know what's going on. He never really has issues like that. Okay.
Did you say you had some? My wife keeps showing me memes as I'm trying to have this podcast. But do we have some listener letters?
Yeah. So we're going to shift gears for a second here and kind of give Justin some time to join in. So this one was from April 5th. So I apologize. It's taken us almost 2 months to get to your listener letter. This is from Infinity Soul. And that name sounds familiar. I don't know if that's someone on a YouTube commenter or someone on a Discord. But basically, they say, hello to the whole Edison Club. I'm currently trying the latest redo format and for fun mostly, and there's no IRL big tournaments planned so far. And I've played in a smaller Tengu tournament to try, hoping I can take learnings from my next Edison tournament. It brought me to the question, what are the learnings you took from other formats, Tengu or Modern, that carried you in Edison? Thank you in advance, Infinity Soul. So basically, he's just looking for advice that stretches across multiple formats.
I got a little one, but
Yeah.
I never played Tengu, and the last time I played Advanced was during Kashtira format, so probably like 2.5, like 3 years ago. I learned a lot about Edison by playing Goat because that was the first format that I ever jumped into, and there was absolutely so much carryover.
Yes.
First of all, because a lot of the ban list is the same, like playing around and learning how to read the one torrential, the one mirror force. In Goat, it's the one Ring of Destruction, which is the best fucking trap card ever. I love that card so much. There's nothing better than ringing for game, but learning how to make reads about like their one ofs, or if they're playing like Sakuretsu armor is equal to the D prison that we play with in Edison. So I'd say that the biggest carryover for me was learning how to make reads and learning how to play the other decks in the format so that you can be better prepared to play against them. That's how I've improved like so far in my Goat format. And I don't think I'm that great at Edison still. I'm not that bad, but I think I'm much more capable in Goat because I have zombie deck, Chaos Turbo, double tap, Mataza, Last Will, Warrior deck, Pure Warriors, Chaos Control, Goat Control, Earth Aggro, and some Cyberstein OTK Reasoning Gate deck. And I've played every single one of them. Oh, and a burn deck, of course, Panda Burn. I've played every single one of them at least once. Many of them I've played multiple times at my locals. And even if I didn't win, I would go 2-0 or 3-0 or sometimes 4-0, or sometimes I'd drop a game here and there and learn what I did wrong and try to pivot the strategy and learn what they were making, like their reads that they were making on me, that maybe I should have played a little bit differently. And now when I'm playing on the other side of the table, I know, oh, they're only setting X, Y, and Z in their back row right now because 2 of them are chainable. One of them's going to be a Solemn Judgment or something.
Yeah.
And it's just so helpful to learn how to play other decks, and it makes your reads so much better that the matchup now feels not like one-sided or not like a mystery, like, oh, what did they set? Oh, why are they attacking into me with this monster? You're saying, oh, they're trying to set up a light and a dark. Oh, they discarded this off. Okay, they have a chaos play coming. And that's definitely something that's had the most carryover for me to Edison. And also learning about priority, because I came straight from advanced format to Goat, and I didn't know what priority was. I didn't know anything about that. So learning that stuff in GOAT and like really, really nailing my fundamentals helped me have a lot of carryover to Edison. I feel so much more comfortable with the rulings and the reads now.
Yep. That's all really good advice. I have a few pointers here, and mind you, I didn't really prep for this. I don't have them written down, and I do have a tendency to ramble. But so I don't really know if there's anything that you can learn in Modern that translates backwards, because the fundamentals are there, but it's condensed a lot to where, like in Edison, you try to like play around like, oh, if they have bottomless, this is what I'll do here. If they have torrential, this is what I'll do. And if you're going first in Modern, you don't really know what 5 cards they're holding. It could be any 5 cards from the game's history. So you kind of have to pick the line. You have to look at your hand and analyze like the hand trap that would like FTK you and try to your best to play around that.
It's 5 hand traps I got to use.
It feels like most of the time Modern is like 5 Omni Negates, 5 counter traps, 5 hand traps. So, but as far as like retro Yu-Gi-Oh goes, I haven't really played much Redo. I play 6 Samurai in that format, and Tengu format. I did play in a Tengu format tournament. I played Gravekeepers. I got 3rd place. But the biggest thing that I can say about all of those retro formats is knowing when to change the game state and when not to. Like if you're in a winning position, be able to analyze that you're ahead, that you don't have to play sloppy. If you have 3 monsters on the field, you don't have to summon into torrential. Like if they have torrential set, make them summon their guy and torrential their own stuff. Stuff like that is really important. Not changing the game state unless you have to.
Yep.
I also think it's really beneficial for anyone that's trying to get better to just one trick, one deck. Like obviously, I don't think that you enter Edison format playing Ojamas and expect to one trick it. But if you pick a competitive deck within reason, and you just one trick that deck and you just keep playing that deck, you're going to get better than people that change decks often, I think, because Yu-Gi-Oh, even in 2010, Yu-Gi-Oh is so deep because you can just miss some tiny little interaction and lose. And it might be an interaction that only comes up once in every 1,000 games. But if you stick to the same deck, and then that 1,000, you finally hit that 1,000th game, and now about this very niche line, you won't miss it the next time it comes up. Because I tried to switch around.
Really, really good.
Yeah. I tried to switch around decks a lot. Like I've always predominantly played Lightsworn, but I tried to switch to stuff like I tried playing Heroes at one time. I tried playing Black Wings at one time. I tried playing Zombies at one time. And it's like, it's too much. It's too many different like deck playstyles that don't mesh together. Like for me, if I was going to go back and play GOAT format, I would play Reasoning Gate because it kind of plays in a similar way to Lightsworn, where it's like you just kind of build to this one turn where it's like, I'm going to play every card I have this one turn. And if it connects, there's nothing that you can do. But if it doesn't, I probably lose. Or if I get stopped too early, I probably lose. So that's important there. I think that one tricking a deck is really important. I also think that not being afraid to kind of like stray away from the proven normal is important as long as you're doing it within reason. I've kind of come to the conclusion after playing Lightsworn for like 4 years at this point, just grinding. I don't know how many games I have with the deck. I don't want to know how many games I have with the deck, with Pure, with Christia, with Twilight. I think that my Pure list I have put together right now is the best build for Lightsworn. And I've kind of sent that to a lot of people. We've debated it. A lot of people say Christia Sworn's the best. I think that building to play for consistency is important. But I also think that one big error that people make when they deck build is being 100% all in on going first always, to the point where when you go second, your deck is not good. And this is reflected in all of my Lightsworn lists because I've only ever played Trap Dust Shoot in my Lightsworn deck one time, and that was at YCS Indy. And that's because when you go second, a lot of times Lightsworn needs that 6th card or all their cards in their hand to have the options to be able to play through what your opponent did. And also, too, it's the deck where, like, obviously the best time to see Dust Shoot is going first for every deck. But the longer you go without seeing Dust Shoot and the longer you go without milling Dust Shoot, the more it just becomes a brick. And when you're trying to find an out, you're trying to like make calculated decisions on, charging before you recharge or letting Lila mill before you recharge. anything like that to try to find JD the most efficient way. And you end up drawing Dust Shoot, and you look at your opponent. It doesn't even matter if Dust Shoot's live when they have a full board, they're going to kill you. So making decisions like that, I think, is really important. Like I main deck double Cyber Dragon for going second because you're not going to go first 100% of your games. So you need options when you go second. And you don't want to have too much. Like you don't want to have 20 go first cards and 20 go second cards. But I think that just having a good mixture of cards that you say, okay, I play these for when I lose the die roll. And people a lot of times have asked me like, well, isn't Cyber Dragon really bad going first? You don't ever want that card in your hand going first. The thing about it is like, if I go first and Cyber Dragon bricks my hand is already bricked. Like that, it's not that one card that just made it where I can't play. Obviously, the other 5 cards would be completely unplayable. So
yeah, you got to.
That's one thing too.
To pick up a balanced deck, because if you play a glass cannon deck and the cannon part doesn't work, then you're just screwed. Yep.
And I have one last thing I'm going to touch upon here before we let everyone else kind of go, because I think Peacock is back and I think Justin is here now as well. The last thing is to keep up with your results. Buy a notebook, keep up with your win-loss ratio, keep up with how certain cards perform for you, and don't get lost in the sauce with like, oh, I put United We Stand in my Blackwing deck, and this one time I went Whirlwind, Sirocco, drop 3 Boras, activate United We Stand, pump, attack, and I just completely one-shotted this guy. Don't get caught in that mentality. Keep track of how often something is happening, and that can kind of help you determine whether or not it should have a spot in your deck or not. So I fell victim to that a lot. I would like win because of some random card I put in my deck. Oh my God, this is the best card ever. And then the next time I play it, I'm like, oh, this card sucks. I'm like, keep playing it. This card sucks. I hate this card. It's bad. And it was just because like it was probably only good 1 in 50 games. So that's all I have to say. It's a very long-winded way of saying it. But I'm going to read this one more time just because Peacock and Justin are here and I really want their input. So you guys are both here now, right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. Peacock, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So we were talking about a listener letter. We kind of shifted gears here for just a second. We can get back to the dad stuff in a minute. But basically, this guy he sent in a listener letter asking for tips on overlap between like Tengu format, Redo format, even modern format that you can take and apply to Edison format to get better. So Nick said his methods, I've said mine. So who wants to go next? Just some general advice, the things that you can pick up from other formats and apply them to Edison.
Go first, Justin, if you want.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I carry a lot more from Edison over to like advanced format and things like that. Like Boyd said earlier, it's kind of hard to carry things over from advanced back into Edison. I feel like, but definitely like a lot of stuff that I learned. It's just like reading opponents and things like that as far as Edison goes. I haven't really carried any kind of like technical play or anything like that over because it's almost 2 different games, right?
It is.
But I think I've played a lot more Edison tournaments than I have advanced tournaments. As far as like big tournaments go, like right, like when you like Ultimate Time Wizard cash tournaments and things like that. Like more recently, I've played a lot more. I would say not recently. I say like in the past 4 or 5 years, more Edison tournaments, and I've carried a lot of like I guess like just like reading your opponent kind of thing into advanced format. Yeah, that's that's pretty much it.
Okay. Good enough. All right, Peacock.
I have a couple of things that I was thinking about while you guys were talking. First and foremost,
You sound really good now, by the way. I don't know what you changed, but you sound much better now.
You sound really good.
I'm going through the browser instead of the app on the Mac, like taskbar thing, and that seems to be the whole issue. So
okay, great.
Out here. Most important thing, I think, no matter what format of Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever you're doing, is you need to really learn and focus on the card pool of just cards that are available, cards that are readily played. As everyone has mentioned about being able to read your opponent, and you have to learn how to read before you can read your opponent by knowing what those cards could possibly be. Like in a modern format, I know I don't play, but I watch a lot of content of it. I know, like, okay, well, at this point, they can Nibiru me because that's my 5th summon. oh, well, right now people are playing, Droll and Lockbird, so maybe this different thing would be different. So by learning the cards that are in that card pool, same thing for Edison, Goat, whatever it is, learn the card pool and then learn the cards that are like effective and really like seeing play in that card pool. If that makes
I
sense.
I think that when you look at advanced format and you look at something like Edison format, advanced format has like a lot of 3-ofs, right? So
Yes.
when you play a strategy, you play your deck or whatever, like you just inherently expect whatever cards are popular in the format to be main decked, or side decked or whatever, right? When you're playing Edison, it is harder to, and in my opinion, most of the time, not worth playing around one ofs. You find people that are scared to like, well, I want to play around brain control, I want to play around gores, I want to play around heavy and things like that, and that's fine if that one particular card is going to cause you to lose. But more often than not, like play the deck how it's intended to be played, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and play an entire 3 games scared of brain control, afraid of gores, unless that particular card is going to cause me to lose that particular turn or whatever.
Yep.
But in advanced format, like you have to play completely different because like you said, droll, right? Like I need to be careful what my first move is because like if I get drolled here, then I'm just my turn is done. If I get hit with Nibiru, then here my turn is done, kind of thing. So you're looking at formats, advanced like where people just don't really play one ofs. It's all 3 ofs, at least the best cards, right?
Yep.
You got things like talents and things like that. They're one ofs, but in Call by the Grave. But we really don't play around those cards because they're one ofs again, right? So um, I think it's completely different. And another thing too, I've noticed too, is like when you played against an inexperienced player and inexperienced player, I'm sorry, you can just look at their face and tell like what they draw, like, oh, that's not what I needed, or oh, this is what I needed.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like you can look at your opponent and the expression they get when they draw, and you can pretty much just know, like, okay, like I got this game in the bag, kind of thing too. And there have been games where like it's recently too, like last weekend, I could tell when my opponent had Droll in their hand because they were finicky. They were like, messing with the card, waiting for me to add a card from deck to hand. So I started off with a different combo line that played around Droll kind of thing.
This is a really
And,
good point.
yeah, they were like, "Oh, you played around Droll," and it's like, "Well, yeah, you pretty much gave it away that you had it," and they were a
Yeah.
little upset about it. But explain to them too, like locals is fine and everything, but if you go to a YCS, you go to a regional or anything like that, and you're giving away every card you have, like you might as well just turn around and go back home.
Exactly. Let me interject here for just a second and say that a really important part of Yu-Gi-Oh that I have learned is obviously there are a lot of things that you should pretty much always do, right? Like, there's no reason to ever really set in main phase 1 if you're going to get a battle and attack. But changing the way that you evaluating your opponent's skill level and changing the way you play accordingly is very important, because a player like what Justin just played against isn't going to play the same way as like Jesse Cotton, obviously. So like, Justin, if you had just did your standard line, which is the best line or maybe even the most optimal line, you would have gotten punished by Droll. But because the guy was basically giving away that he had it, maybe you go for a line that's not quite as good, but you make it where Droll doesn't even do anything to affect you at all.
Yes.
So like just changing the way that you play and not always doing the exact same thing every single time. Sometimes not even doing what's most optimal or the best play. Sometimes doing like the next best play is the correct answer. It just depends on how you read your opponent and their skill level.
And a caveat to that too is people that are players that are like that too tend to also play conservatively.
Yep.
Because they're also scared of cards like that, right? Like today, I played against the same person that I was talking about that I played against last weekend, and they were playing Blue Eyes, but they left on a less than optimal board because they were afraid of Nibiru, knowing that I play a 60 card main deck, and that not even knowing if I main deck or side deck it, which I side deck it, but making a less than optimal board because they were afraid of a potential side deck card.
Yeah.
And this was game 1, and then I just blew them out of the water. And they're like, "Oh, I'll try to play around this, play around that too." And it's like, okay, well, you're not playing your deck the way it's intended to be played. Like if this was game 2 and you know that like, okay, well, there's a good chance he's going to side it, or I thought at game 1, then that's understandable. But those players that give away what cards they have in their hand, or give away like, oh, this is a good hand or a bad hand, are the same players I feel like too that are afraid of those cards as well. So
Yeah, I've been there. I've done that too. Like you're so afraid. Like, oh, what if he has Nibiru? You know, like what if he has this card? And I think that it's just better to just do what your deck is supposed to do. I'd rather get punished for playing how I'm supposed to play and lose to Nibiru than do a crappy line and get OTK'd. Because like either way you lose. You don't get like extra style points like just because Nibiru didn't drop on you. Like you still lost at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying. Okay.
Yes, that all boils down to like what I was saying was like just learn the card pool of whatever format you are entering into, because you can't read if Nibiru is a card or anything if you don't know it exists. And same thing if you're playing against like a bad player who you're trying to like, oh, I'm gonna do this play to try to trap them so they fall into my torrent, but they don't know what torrent does. So
Yeah.
adjusting your play to your opponent makes a lot of sense. But that also, like I said, all boils down to just really learn the card pool of the cards that are not only viable, but the cards that are commonly played.
And
it's one of the biggest things when it comes to different formats.
I like playing like Dark Gaia, right? Like in Edison. And I'm not going to sit there and hit you with like a 6,700 attack Dark Gaia and leave my field open without any like gores or anything like that or drag.
Right.
Knowing that you might have a brain control. You know what I mean? Like it's just little things like that. Like, obviously, I'm not going to do something that silly, but if your board's wide open, you have 2 cards in hand, and I have a 6,700 attack Dark Gaia, you best believe I'm attacking whether or not I think you have gores or not. You know?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it just comes down to what you've already seen in the game, how many cards are in deck, what that kind of thing too. So
yeah, and like people used to say like everyone has different play styles. That's kind of a meme in a lot of ways now. But something, and I'll say that I've kind of adapted with the way that I play, is that I try to give my opponent the least amount of chances to like sack their way out of beating me. So at our North Carolina Invitational event we had, like, I guess a couple months ago now, I just played like no one ever had Mirror Force, no one ever had Torrential ever, like within reason, and that's just kind of how I figured out that I just like to play. Like I like to put my opponent on, like, you better have this card that's at 1, because if you don't, the game is over this turn.
I like that. Right. Yeah. Sometimes you get really, really rewarded by playing aggressively.
Yeah.
And not everybody can go for that. Like, it's kind of weird. The 2 decks that I love the most in GOAT are like the 2 polar opposites. GOAT Control is probably my main deck, and Earth Aggro is my second favorite deck. And they're totally opposite, totally different play styles. But at the end of the day, the philosophy is the same, that you have to make plays that are going to win you the game, not plays that are going to try to delay the game or try to make you not lose the game.
Yep, and everything's contextual, right? Like, if I have 5 monsters on the field, I'm attacking into 2 back row. I'm not attacking my Lumina into back row anyway. Like, I'm never attacking with Lumina if there's set cards on the field. So, like, I'm putting Lumina in defense, like, regardless. It's like I'm not losing her to Mirror Force. So everything is contextual. Don't play, like, stupidly. Like, don't just play sloppy.
Every rule, there's an exception to every rule.
Exactly.
I think people play too much to stay in the game as opposed to win the game.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly.
And that's just incorrect.
And some decks, that's not how they're meant to play. Like, some decks are not meant to play like Diva Hero, for example. I feel like it's kind of one of those decks. Like, you're not trying to just play this super long game, like 1-for-1 all your opponent's cards. You're trying to just like,
you're not favored in the long game.
Yeah, you're just trying to be like, oh, you opened up kind of weak. Well, here's Future Fusion, Miracle Fusion, Deep Sea Diva. Like, you're dead. Like, you don't have Gores, you're dead. So, like, every deck is different.
What I would say with Diva Hero was, I'm like, if you give me an inch, I'm going to take a mile, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, I hope that was a good way of giving you some advice there. We do have another listener letter. This one is kind of just someone sharing their story. We can talk about this, and then I want Justin to kind of share his how he juggles Yu-Gi-Oh with being a dad. But this is from Nick Cook, and he's referencing an episode that we had with Hydro Pump pretty recently. He says, I listened to the story Enraged had about his mom in that episode. It was really touching and relatable, as I just lost my dad, and he was that person for me. I have my Spellground that my dad bought for me 15 years ago, a blue V2, and I'll never get rid of it. Thank you for sharing this. And this is why the podcast is so important, guys. Like, just being able to, for people to be able to just relate to people on the show is really, really important. So I sent this to Peacock. This was on May 15th, the day that I got this, and I think that he really enjoyed getting that.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm an open book. I have no problems ever sharing like the stuff I've been through, what I've done, things like that. And that's kind of one of the main reasons why I've always wanted to be a part of the podcast like this. Is like, I always I would say like I suffered in silence for so long, so I heal out loud now, and it's just being able to share that and then have people be able to also find different ways and outlets and avenues to cope with the things. So first things, Nick, thanks for the writing the letter, and then second off, I'm obviously very sorry for your loss. And we're always here just to kind of share what we've been through, and it's literally the cliche of like it's about the people you meet along the way that makes it doing what we do. Like the card game is fun, but it's the people is why we're still doing it.
Yep.
All these years later.
Yep, exactly. So we're going to get into, we're going to let Justin kind of give us some advice on how he juggles being a dad and also playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I want to give a very quick shout out to our sponsor, Sage's Secret. If you head on down to the link in the video description, it's ruxin34.com. They have a lot of really cool sleeves that you can buy. These sleeves are basically reminiscent of like the old Magic the Gathering size sleeves that you'd get when you were a kid. They're kind of like holographic on the back. They're really cool. They're very high quality. I really like them a lot. I recently gave away a pack of them for free in a contest. Fitz ended up taking those. So make sure you follow that link and get your Sage's Secret card sleeves today. And without further ado, Justin, how do you juggle being a dad but also making the time to play Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, I think the secret formula is to having a good partner.
Yes.
First and foremost. My wife is very supportive of me getting my me time, playing cards and everything. And at first, you, of course, when the baby's first born, or you don't really get that kind of time, right? Like it's prioritized, making sure mom's okay, making sure baby's okay. But as time goes and everything, like, it really just depends on having a good partner. She lets me have the weekends, I work and everything like that during the day, during the week and stuff like that. And she watches the kids while I go to locals once a week or to big trips. Like I got nationals coming up, and she actually supports me and like, yeah, you need to go. You got your invite, kind of thing. Like take advantage of it.
That's awesome.
And it's very,
that must be really nice.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I couldn't imagine being a single parent and being allowed to or really finding the time to do that without not putting your kid first, kind of thing. But yeah, like I don't really have anything else to say besides like it takes a very supportive partner, but you have to reciprocate too, right? Like you have
Exactly.
you also have to give too, and that's the foundation of a good relationship and a good family. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that's short, sweet, and to the point.
My wife has no other friends or hobbies besides me. I am her friend and her hobby. So,
yeah, so
it's hard to get away to do anything.
That is the same thing. So my wife's not social. So
oh,
she
good. They're on the same page.
She doesn't go hang out with people. She sits at home and reads and everything, and
yep.
And things like that too. So she's not very sociable. I'm her best friend. She's my best friend too.
Oh yeah,
I joke all the time. Like
she's definitely my best friend.
I joke all the time too. Like my best friend is so and so or whatever, but really when you sit down and think about it, like it's really her.
Yeah,
I couldn't do anything without her. And we watch stuff together, read stuff together, do everything together, talking 24/7 on the phone together, kind of thing. And but yeah, like getting your kids into it too is another way around it too, right? Like if you want to keep doing stuff and going on trips, when they get older, introduce them to the game and just hope they like it. I mean, it's as simple as that. That's been
one of the greatest things recently with my son. He's only 5, but he can read now, and so like every time he comes over, I'll just hand him random commons that Recently, he's been reading like random swap frogs, so he'll look at me and he'll like read it, go swap frog, and then run around and play. But I also realized quickly that in modern day cards, I can't hand him any modern cards like I've gotten from these random packs.
You should hand him.
Oh my god, he can't read this.
You should give him simultaneous equation cannons.
I handed him one of these new Mitsu. No, there's a new Mitsurugi card. It's like Mitsutumi. Like it's just in Japanese. I don't know what it was. I'm like, that's crazy.
Give him Endymion.
Yeah.
Wait, I got an idea. Give him the Katakuri cards. Katakuri MDL 1746.
He's a big fan right now of Rescue Rabbit, Swap Frog, Dupe Frog, and then Mad Sword Beast. This one he really likes.
Oh yeah, those are all cool.
Yeah. When Will's old enough to read, I'm just gonna hand him like my playset of Ulti Caius and just let him read those and play with them and kind of chew them and do whatever he wants. Because it's easy, it'll only be like one sentence.
Sorry,
but I
Will,
definitely want to get
to college. Sorry, well, you can't
No.
go to college. Dad decided to hand you the ulti kais instead of saving them
I'll
away
give
for
him an
you.
ulti dad or like
Hey,
a ghost
Will,
startup.
Will
That's
and
all I have.
Oliver could learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh together.
At the
That's
same age, that's incredible.
so. Oh yeah, they're only. I mean, he's 5 weeks and Will's almost a year, so they'll be less than a year apart. So when they start reading and start learning how to, play the game, it'll be about the same time roughly. I
Yeah.
do give him cards randomly, but
awesome.
he just looks at them and he chews them and he bends them and stuff. And I don't want him to grow up, obviously, because he's so small and he's so
Tommy,
cute.
yeah,
but
Tommy, he
when he
doesn't
does,
understand how to hold them. He just looks at them and he'll start crumpling it after because he's so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're only hitting you commons for now.
It's cute. It's so cute.
Yu-Gi-Oh is just so hard to teach kids. Like, took my son to a couple advanced tournaments, and he ended up like taking an Edison deck and summoning Jinzo with like Axe of Despair.
Yeah. Low key. So like one of the things that people have always told me is like if you want to get someone into the game, start with GOAT format. I actually think starting with Yugi Kaiba format or Critter format would be like a much better introduction into getting someone, because like it's literally like just big guy attack your big defense, like play equip spell, make guy big kind of Yu-Gi-Oh. Rather than like
adults to even learn how to play, let alone children, and like
the
main reason we know how to play the game is because it's been a part of our lives more than it hasn't at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't had someone I haven't heard that yet. Like I know it's true, but when you hear that, it's like you take a step back and you're like, dude, like I'm old. Like,
oh yeah,
I think that's why it's so hard to let go, because like Yu-Gi-Oh was like I think my first like true love, like as far as like passion, something that like I'm invested in, and it's really really hard to let go of that. Like, everybody's got their own thing too, but I think I can't think of one person that I know that's like loved something as a child that's just given it up completely, as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
like what that listener letter. There's so many like fond memories at two different parts. Like why I was saying, like whenever I lost my mom, like my life as a kid was with me and her, like me playing Yu-Gi-Oh and like her being so excited because I was so excited. And now that we're all parents, you'll understand that whenever your kid's super into something, you want to see them be super into it because of just how much joy it brings them. So it's just a full circle kind of thing of like how impactful like the game has been. Everyone like that touches it really.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to add on to what I was saying, most recently there was a Critter format tournament, the 3rd of May, and the winning deck. Does anybody want to guess what the winning deck for this was? Because it is hilarious, and I guarantee you will not guess it unless you've already looked it up.
I don't know a single deck in that format, but I'm gonna say, is it called Sangan Turbo?
Muka is a really strong card in Critter, so something with Muka and like being aggressive would be my.
So you're both kind of correct. It does play Sangan and Witch and Muka, but this first place deck was Labyrinth Tank Turbo.
Oh my god!
So it just, I don't even know what Labyrinth Tank even, hold on. It's Cannon Soldier,
level 7
Gigatech Wolf, and Cannon Soldier.
It's a vanilla fusion, right?
Yep.
Okay, I have that in
Labyrinth
my
is
Cyber
the normal
deck in case I really need to.
Yep, Labyrinth Tank is the
fusion. Nope, it's the fusion.
Labyrinth Tank is the 2400 guy.
Oh yeah, he's my backup because I only have one copy of Gatling Dragon.
Yeah, so that was one of the most recent decks, and here it's like these decks are literally like Giant Soldier of Stone, Magician of Faith, Thunder Dragon, Sangan Witch, Heavy Storm is it too, which I didn't know, like Swords Revealing Light, Mirror Force. Very, very simple cards. Like they all have like one line of text on them. So that's a good place to start. I think that's probably where I'd tell somebody to start. Or Yugi Kaiba format. But so
oh yeah, once Will learns how to read that, that'll be the first thing. I'm like, okay, you can read words now? Here you go, have some critters.
Yep.
I mean, that's what I've been doing. He's also kind of into Pokemon right now too. So we've been handing him Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and watching the Pokemon anime with him has been just such a fun thing. And every time we go to a store now, he'll another like a new like Pokemon plushie, and it's a whole different level of just like overwhelming like nostalgia, awesome feeling.
Yeah,
to experience it again myself, but experiencing it with him, just seeing how excited he gets for these little things is just something that you can't ever put a price on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So we are approaching the 1 hour mark, so we're going to start winding down here. We do take fan mail. If you want to have your listener letter read on the show, it's the EdisonClubFanmail@gmail.com. I'm also running something on the channel right now, which is pretty cool, and I'm doing a segment called What Yu-Gi-Oh! Means to Me. So if you want to be featured on the Edison Club channel, please record yourself a video that's less than 10 minutes long explaining what Yu-Gi-Oh means to you. Do you just enjoy having a sense of community, going out on the weekends with your friends? Is it something much deeper? You played with a friend, something like that meant a lot to you. Whatever your story is, just keep it clean. Email it to the Edison Club fan club, Edison Club fan mail at gmail.com, and I will upload it on the Edison Club channel. So, Nick, Justin, Peacock, any closing remarks from any of you guys before we wrap this up?
I have
What I
one
was trying
last
to say
thing.
earlier.
Go ahead, Peacock. You're good.
What I was trying to say earlier, whenever my mic and like Discord thing decided to try to like just unalive itself, basically the whole point Justin made earlier was having like a supportive partner and just saying like I was trying to say like shout out like to the wives and like the moms of everyone that is a part of this whole thing, because even though me and my ex-wife are obviously no longer together, like, me and her co-parent really well, and that makes life so much easier whenever you're both on the same page. And it's a similar thing like what you guys are saying, being able to have your you time. You know, relationships aren't a 50-50. They're supposed to be 100-100, where you both do everything you can for each other. The amount of times with us going out of town or going to these long tournaments, like, it takes a special kind of a person to, like, your significant other to do that. And it's just really awesome that you guys have found that. And I'm so happy for y'all to be able to experience that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone else who's trying to kind of be in the same boat where you're trying to be a Yu-Gi-Oh dad, or if you're just trying to have a great relationship, you're both. So it's obviously 100%, but it's actually 60-40. But both of you are trying to be the 60. That's what I think is the key to a great relationship.
Yeah.
Yes, that's such a good way of putting it. Like, it's like a competition where you're both just working as hard as you can to do more than the other person.
Yeah. But the other note I was going to give for Infinity Soul and for anybody else who's trying to be more competitive and try to learn a little bit more about the ins and outs of the card game is read The Road of the King by Patrick Hoban and read Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. Those they have Thinking in Bets has nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh. It's more about poker, but there's so much carryover. Just check it out and see if it'll change the way you play the game.
Okay. Justin, you have anything you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
No, I think he said it very well.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for this episode. Like I said, I'm going to try my best to be back as often as I can. I'm going to try to keep up the podcast on the schedule. I'm going to try to get it back on every Thursday evening or Friday morning upload dates, so be on the lookout for those. And yeah, guys. All right. That's all we have for this one. This is Mike, Justin, Nick, and Enraged Peacock from the Edison Club signing out until the next one.
Hamster Ryko Caius. I go check the pairings, I'm like, don't know who this guy is. Hamster Ryko Caius, Hamster Ryko Caius. 2-0 every round, man, and I ain't even trying. It's just Hamster Ryko Caius, Hamster Ryko Caius.